Imagine being led by the hand, unable to see the faces around you, not knowing where each step will take you. Imagine trusting a voice you cannot see, one that promises light beyond the darkness you've known all your life. Now imagine feeling your eyes touched by that very voice, the touch of Jesus, and seeing for the first time, not all at once, but little by little, as if heaven itself is teaching you how to see again. When Jesus arrived in Bethsaida, some people brought a blind man to him, begging that he might touch him. Jesus took the man by the hand and led him outside the village. It's a simple act, but full of tenderness and meaning. Jesus could have healed him right there in front of the crowd, but instead, he chose to lead him away, out of the noise, out of distraction, into a private space where it was just the two of them. That alone speaks volumes. Healing often begins in the quiet, away from the public eye. Jesus doesn't rush to perform. He begins by leading, by guiding, by inviting the man into intimacy. This moment in Mark 8:22-26 is unique because the healing happens in two stages. It's the only recorded miracle in the Gospels where Jesus performs a gradual healing. After spitting on the man's eyes and laying his hands on him, Jesus asks, "Do you see anything?" The man looks up and replies, "I see people, but they look like trees walking around." His sight is restored partially, enough to sense light, movement, and form, but not clarity. Then Jesus places his hands on the man's eyes once more. The second time, his eyes are fully opened, and he sees everything clearly. Why two stages? Why not instant perfection, as in every other miracle? The story is not only about physical sight, it's a parable of spiritual awakening. Jesus was teaching something far deeper about faith, growth, and divine process. Bethsaida was known for its unbelief. Earlier in the Gospels, Jesus condemned it along with Chorazin and Capernaum, saying that if the miracles performed in them had been done in Tyre and Sidon, those cities would have repented long ago. The town had seen great works of God but failed to respond in faith. So when Jesus led this blind man out of Bethsaida, it wasn't just to escape the crowd. It was symbolic of leading him away from spiritual blindness, from the environment that dulled faith. Healing couldn't happen in the same atmosphere that rejected belief. Sometimes God must lead us out of familiar places, places filled with doubt and distraction, so that our hearts can truly receive what he wants to give. The first touch restored partial sight. The man saw, but not clearly. Isn't that how faith often begins? We start to glimpse truth, to sense God working in our lives, but everything still feels blurry. We know he's near, but we can't yet see him clearly. Spiritual growth is rarely instantaneous. It unfolds step by step, layer by layer. Just as the blind man needed a second touch, we too need God's continued work in our hearts to see with full clarity, to see the world, others, and even ourselves through his eyes. There's a profound tenderness in how Jesus interacts with this man. He doesn't scold him for not seeing clearly after the first touch. He doesn't walk away disappointed. Instead, he patiently touches him again. God's healing isn't about efficiency, it's about relationship. Jesus doesn't perform miracles to impress, he performs them to reveal who he is. The process itself becomes a mirror of the journey of faith, how we move from darkness to light, confusion to understanding, partial faith to complete trust. We often expect God to fix things instantly. We pray, and when nothing happens right away, we doubt whether he's listening. But this story reminds us that divine timing isn't delay, it's design. God's work in your life might feel unfinished, not because he's forgotten you, but because he's still forming you. The second touch will come, but not before your heart learns to depend on him more than on results. The man's honesty is also worth noticing. When Jesus asks, "Do you see anything?" the man could have pretended everything was fine. But he tells the truth. "I see people, but they look like trees walking." That honesty is part of his healing. Sometimes we stay stuck because we pretend we're already whole, already seeing clearly. But God can only heal what we're willing to admit. Transparency before him opens the door for the second touch, the one that brings true clarity. The use of saliva in the miracle might seem strange to us, but in the ancient world, saliva was thought to have healing properties. Yet Jesus wasn't using a magical technique. He was showing that his power flowed through the most human of gestures. His healing touch bridged heaven and earth, divinity wrapped in human tenderness. That moment tells us that God's power often comes to us in ordinary forms. A word, a hand, a moment of prayer, a conversation that stirs hope again. After the man is fully healed, Jesus sends him home and says, "Don't even go into the village." That instruction is not random. Bethsaida represented unbelief and rejection. Returning there could mean falling back into old patterns of blindness. When God heals us, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, He calls us to walk differently, to stay away from the environments that once blinded us. True healing isn't just about restored vision, it's about transformed direction. This two-stage healing mirrors how God works in each of us. There's the first stage, when we begin to see Him. We awaken to His presence, start reading His word, start sensing purpose, but it's still vague, like trees walking. Then there's the second stage, when He opens our eyes completely, when we begin to see not just what He's doing, but why He's doing it. That's when our faith deepens, when we stop seeing through our pain and start seeing through His promises. Jesus' question, "Do you see anything?" echoes through time, asking each of us the same. Do you see what He's doing in your life? Can you see His hand guiding you even in the fog? The truth is, many of us live between the two touches, seeing but not yet clearly. We believe, but we still doubt. We love God, but we struggle to trust His timing. The story of Bethsaida is for everyone in that in-between space. Maybe you've prayed for breakthrough and seen small changes, but the full picture hasn't come into focus. Don't lose heart. The first touch means God has begun the work. The second touch means He will finish it. Philippians 1:6 reminds us, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Sometimes God delays the full clarity to build deeper dependence. If He gave us perfect sight all at once, we might run ahead without Him. But when vision comes gradually, we learn to stay close, to keep listening, to keep trusting. The blind man stayed with Jesus after the first touch. He didn't walk away half-healed. He waited for the second. That's the secret, staying close even when you only see a little. And notice the direction of movement. Jesus takes him out, touches him, and then sends him home by another way. Healing is never a return to the old. It's always an invitation into newness. When God heals you, you can't go back to the same patterns, the same people, the same unbelief. Spiritual sight changes how you walk through life. It transforms not just your eyes, but your path. Bethsaida's story is also the story of discipleship. Just before this miracle, the disciples themselves were struggling to see clearly. Jesus had fed thousands with a few loaves, yet they worried about not having bread in the boat. He asked them, "Do you still not understand?" Their spiritual sight was blurred. They could see the miracles, but not the meaning behind them. So this healing becomes a living parable of their journey. They would need repeated touches from Jesus before they could truly see Him as the Messiah. We are not much different. God often reveals His truth to us progressively. The first revelation awakens us, the second transforms us. Each season of life brings a new layer of sight. Maybe you're in a season where things feel hazy, where faith feels fragile, where understanding is incomplete. Remember that partial sight is not failure, it's progress. Every glimpse of light means Jesus is still touching your life. There's also a powerful emotional lesson here. Jesus doesn't just restore what was lost, He gives the man something he's never known. The man wasn't regaining sight, he was receiving it for the first time. That's grace. God giving us what we never had, not just returning what we lost. When Jesus heals, He doesn't just fix the damage, He creates something new. Imagine the first thing that man saw clearly, the face of Jesus. What a moment that must have been. The very first image burned into his memory was the one who gave him sight. That's what salvation is, when we see Jesus clearly for the first time and everything else comes into focus. Jesus didn't just heal the man's eyes, He restored his identity. In the ancient world, blindness was seen as a curse, a mark of shame. By healing him, Jesus restored his dignity. That's the kind of healing Jesus offers each of us. Not just physical, but emotional and spiritual restoration. He brings back the parts of us that the world said were broken beyond repair. And yet, even in the miracle, there's restraint. Jesus tells him not to go back to the village or make it a public spectacle. That reminds us that true faith doesn't need applause. Some of God's deepest works happen in private, in the quiet corners of our hearts where no one sees but Him. Not every healing needs an audience. Sometimes the miracle is just between you and God. Bethsaida's lesson lingers because it's a story of becoming. It's about moving from darkness into light, from half-sight into full vision, from doubt into faith. It's about understanding that healing isn't always instant. It's relational, intimate, and deeply personal. God works through process, not because He lacks power, but because He values connection. Maybe your own faith feels blurred today. Maybe you see movement but not meaning. You're praying, but the answers seem partial. Take heart. Jesus is not finished. The same hands that touched the blind man's eyes are touching your life, leading you gently out of noise and into clarity. The first touch opened your eyes, the second will open your understanding. So stay close. Keep walking with Him, even when sight is dim. Let Him take you by the hand, lead you out of the crowd, and touch you again. Because when He finishes His work, you'll see not just what's around you, but who is with you. And in that moment, everything will come into focus. Thank you for watching this reflection on Jesus Heals a Blind Man at Bethsaida. If this message spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Holy Path Insights to walk deeper in faith with us. May your eyes continue to see through the light of His grace.